In the heart of Rajasthan, two adventurous couples, Emily and Jack from New York, and Sarah and Mike from California, set off on a journey to explore the vibrant, mystical corners of India. They were eager to embrace the culture and nature of rural India, so they hired a local tour guide, Shivendra, who was known for his deep knowledge of the region's folklore and hidden landmarks. One evening, after a long day of sightseeing, Shivendra took them to a secluded spot on the outskirts of a quiet village. A massive banyan tree stood silently in the fading light, its sprawling roots twisting into the earth like long, gnarled fingers. As they approached, the guide began his story with an unsettling calmness. "This tree is ancient, more than 500 years old," he said, gesturing to its enormous roots and dense canopy. "The people of this village believe that the tree is cursed." Emily and Jack exchanged confused glances. Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Cursed?" she asked, unsure whether it was just another local tale meant to add drama to their experience. Shivendra nodded slowly, his tone serious. "After sunset, no one should stay near the tree. It's said that a spirit haunts this place, one that was wronged long ago. Those who linger after dark have disappeared, or worse, they change." Mike laughed nervously. "Sounds like something out of a horror movie." But there was something in Shivendra's eyes, something that didn't feel like a joke. "I've seen it myself," he whispered, "and I've heard stories. It's better not to tempt fate." The group chuckled, but there was an uneasy air hanging around them. They were in India, after all, a land rich with myths and mysteries. Perhaps it was just one of those legends meant to keep curious minds at bay. Despite the warning, curiosity soon overcame them. As the sun dipped below the horizon, they decided to visit the tree after all, eager to snap some photographs and add to their travel memories. "Let's just take a few pictures. It's still light enough," Emily suggested, trying to push away the slight feeling of discomfort. They made their way toward the giant tree, its shadow growing longer with every passing minute. The cool evening air began to settle in as the last rays of sunlight flickered out of sight. Standing beneath the tree's massive branches, they pulled out their cameras. The sheer size of the banyan tree was overwhelming. Its roots seemed to reach deep into the ground like veins, and its twisted branches reached out as if trying to touch the sky. Just as they clicked the first few photos, the wind died completely, and an eerie silence enveloped them. "It feels strange here," Sarah whispered, feeling the hairs on the back of her neck stand on end. But they brushed it off as the strange feeling of being in an unfamiliar, ancient place. They continued taking pictures, laughing and joking, but then, just as the clock struck 6 p.m., something happened. In the very moment of clicking another photo, Emily glanced at her camera's screen, and her smile faltered. The photo didn't look right. Behind them, where the tree stood, a shadowy figure appeared, dark, featureless, and almost blending into the shadows of the tree. "That wasn't there," Emily whispered, her voice shaky. The group crowded around her, looking at the screen, but the image was undeniable. The figure wasn't part of the landscape when they took the picture, yet it was clearly visible now. It had no face, just an eerie, dark silhouette standing under the banyan tree. "It's just a trick of the light," Jack tried to dismiss, though his voice lacked conviction. "Let's take one more just to be sure," Mike said, trying to shake off the tension in the air. But when they did, it wasn't just a figure that had appeared in the photo. The entire scene seemed to shift. The roots of the tree were twisted into shapes that didn't seem natural, and the air around them grew thick with an unnatural fog. Suddenly, a low growl filled the air, coming from the direction of the tree. It wasn't the wind. It was something deeper, something that vibrated in their chests. "We need to go now." Shivendra's voice had gone from calm to urgent. Without saying another word, they turned to leave, but it wasn't that simple. As they walked away, the world around them seemed to grow unnervingly silent, like a pressure had descended upon the entire area. As they neared the jeep, the banyan tree stood behind them, its branches swaying with no wind, and the dark figure from the photo seemed to follow them, though they could no longer see it with their eyes. Back in their hotel room later that night, the group tried to laugh it off, but the unease lingered. Emily felt something cold brush against her arm in the hotel room. When she turned, nothing was there. Jack's watch had stopped at exactly 6:05 p.m., and Sarah felt an inexplicable chill creeping up her spine. That night, as they tried to sleep, the sounds of whispers seemed to echo through the walls. Faint, unintelligible voices, like someone was speaking just beyond their reach. The next morning, they decided to leave. They had had enough of the eerie atmosphere, and they didn't want to risk staying another night. But as they packed their bags, Emily realized something horrifying. Her necklace had gone missing. It wasn't just any necklace. It was a gift from her late mother, something she'd worn every day since her mother's passing. "It was on me last night," she exclaimed, her voice shaking. They searched the hotel room, but there was no trace of it. As they left the village, they drove past the banyan tree, still standing ominously at the edge of the field. In the rearview mirror, Emily swore she saw the dark figure again, standing at the tree's base, its glowing eyes fixed on them. Weeks later, back in the United States, strange things began happening. Emily's necklace never turned up. It simply vanished like everything else tied to that night. Sarah felt it first, the strange sensation of being watched. It was subtle at first, like a whisper in the corner of her mind. But soon it grew. Even when she was alone, in the quiet of her own home, she couldn't shake the feeling. She wasn't alone. Mike too couldn't escape. Night after night, the nightmares plagued him. Of the banyan tree, of the figure with glowing eyes, and the deep, guttural growls that echoed from the shadows. And every night since that trip, they all dreamed of the same thing. A shadowy figure, standing beneath the twisted roots of the banyan tree, waiting for them to return, waiting for them to come back.